Hey, from New Jersey, it's the SNL Nerds, the show where two comics from New Jersey nerd out about Saturday Night Live. I'm your co-host, Darren Patterson.
And I'm your co-host, John Trumbull.
How you doing, John?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
John, I'm good, John. John.
Yeah, what?
We got a guest.
What? Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, right?
Oh
Hey,
my
guys.
God. There's somebody here in the studio with us.
You guys didn't know I was here.
How long you been sitting there, man?
Just overnight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the door was unlocked.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, so you're like squatting.
Yeah.
All right. Cool, man. Guys, that beautiful voice you hear is our guest for today. He's an amazing writer. He does the SNL recaps for Entertainment Weekly. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Andy Hoagland.
Guys, thanks so much for having me. I'm a big fan.
Oh, thanks for coming, Andy.
Of course.
And Andy, we've mentioned your recaps on the show at least once before because
Cool.
you were nice enough to give us a shout out.
Yeah.
Yes.
thanks.
In one,
Yeah.
I think that was earlier
It
this
was one
year.
of the early ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was unprompted, too. You're just like, hey, check out this podcast. Thank you, sir.
I just, the spirit comes out of me. What can I say? You know?
Our podcast has that effect on people.
Yeah.
You'll catch the Holy Ghost when you listen to the SNL
It's
Nerds.
very generous. There's a lot of generosity in this podcast, which I like. It's not just, snark and stuff.
Yeah, it's not all snark and snipe here.
No,
It's
we're
okay.
we're about the love.
Yeah.
I mean, snark is important, too.
It is.
But there's a
Yeah.
balance. You know?
Yes. The light and the dark of the,
Right,
the
exactly.
Jedi.
Yeah. Just be
whatever.
sure to stay close to the mic. We just want to make sure that you're
I'm getting in the
you're picking
moment,
it up.
guys.
Yes, we want to get all the praise and love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get it right in the mic.
But so yeah, you have this really interesting gig. You write about the show for Entertainment Weekly. You write like a weekly recap of the show, kind of similar to what we do here. Just like, hey, this sketch happened and this sketch happened, and what I'm always impressed with, it goes up like literally minutes after the show ends.
Yeah, I do it in real time. So if sometimes my observations aren't the most coherent, it's because it's 12:30 at night and
Yeah.
I'm very sleepy.
Yeah, you're basically live blogging the show,
Right.
And then,
yeah, I'm live blogging, and then concurrent with all that, what I try to do is incorporate feedback from former Saturday Night Live cast members as well
Right.
too.
Oh.
Just because I was a baseball guy growing up, and I always used to love how the play-by-play guy or the color guy was like a former athlete. So you'd have the professional, like the Joe Buck dude, and then you'd have Cal Ripken or Jim Palmer. I'm Maryland Orioles fan, obviously, but you'd have someone who's actually been in that driver's seat and knows what it's like. So I wanted to do something kind of analogous to add like a little bit of a different flavor than just the typical recaps. And you're like, oh, okay, like that's a good opinion.
Okay.
But here's a way to like actually hear what people who have been on 8H what they have to say about the show too.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, and that's fascinating. Like this week, you've got Jeff Richards
Yep.
coming in and giving his perspective on the show. I know you've had like some other cast members, like Victoria Jackson.
Yeah,
one of
I
the
had
ones
Victoria
I was reading.
Jackson's come on. Yeah, Ellen Cleghorn's come on a couple times. Patrick Weathers, who's on in 1980. Matthew Lawrence as well too. So it's been a solid spread of people contributing.
And how are you getting in touch with these people? Are you just contacting them cold on social media? How do you make the connections?
So, just kind of like taking a step back on my background a little bit. I've been doing this for about 5 years. SNL in Review started as a monthly column that was being powered by Boston.com. This is when my wife and I still lived in Boston.
Okay.
And essentially for like MacGruber, if it was the 5th anniversary of MacGruber, I would do a write-up about that movie's impact and its comedy legacy. That ended at one point. I think BDC Wire shut down. And, I had started to develop this Twitter following, and I wanted to create content. So I started, reaching out to SNL folk and seeing who wanted to tell their story. And, we also have, the Tom Shales book that I think everyone gets on Christmas. We've gotten that signed by over 40 former cast members.
Oh,
at
that's
this
cool.
point. So just in the process of meeting people at stand-up gigs or, reaching out to them and doing interviews for, Daily Beast or whoever. Yeah,
Whoa.
my wife has the book right
Yeah,
here.
everybody. Andy's lovely wife Katie's here as well,
Yes.
and she's
Yeah,
holding up
she's
the book live from New York.
Yeah.
Which we've
Hardcover.
referenced many a time
I'm sure.
on this podcast, which
I'm
is,
sure.
I mean, it's the amazing oral history of Saturday Night Live, co-written by Tom Shales and Andrew
Miller.
Yes, thank you. I was
Yeah.
blanking on the last name.
So, just in the process of meeting these people, I've become, somewhat friendly with a few, especially Jeff Richards. I talk to fairly often. He's a great guy. Definitely follow him on Instagram.
Our dog tried to bite him.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Sure too.
Like deservedly?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. Our dog is just kind of an asshole.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
But yeah, so just it's been fun kind of incorporating that feedback into the recaps again in real time as well too.
Yeah, yeah. And does this just go right up on the EW site, or does this go through an editor first? You can just upload it with
no, I
sort
don't
of
upload
oversight,
it,
or
but I work with an editor. Jillian is my main point of contact. I don't know if you guys follow her on Twitter as well too, but she's great.
Okay.
we do not.
And
But we can give her a plug if you want.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember her handle at the moment, but she's one of the audience content people for Entertainment Weekly.
Cool.
And she has kind of a network of different. It's Jillian Sed, SED.
Okay.
So
at Jillian said.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Okay.
It's a cool last name.
She'll put me in contact with different people who are, I guess, in charge of editing the recaps for the night, and I'll send it to them in real time, or I'll text them as the case was last night, and we just it's all about getting up there as soon as possible.
Oh, fantastic!
That's very, very cool, and that kind of reminds me of how like this podcast started out. Ed just started out of the two of us live blogging the show basically on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
And then our producer Frank Kablawi just said, "Hey, you guys could make this into a podcast."
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Hey, yeah.
Look at us now.
Look at us now.
Living the high life.
Right.
Yeah.
High and the hog. All right. So Andy, I mean, you did all this. You do all this amazing stuff for SNL. So it would be fair to say you're an SNL nerd, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's on brand for me to be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so do you remember what your history of the show is? Like, how did you discover it?
What era did you first start watching the show?
Well, I'm a '90s kid, as is my wife, and I think my first memory was really during the Wayne's World Palooza. When the movie came out, I was probably 5 or 6 or something, and in Cub Scouts, and that movie was just ubiquitous. Like everyone was quoting it, and I remember then subsequent stumbling on Comedy Central, the reruns, you'd see Wayne and Garth in this non-movie format, and that kind of piqued my interest. Like, what is this exactly?
Oh, interesting. So you saw the movie first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh,
All right.
wow. Okay. And so what made you keep going back to SNL?
Well,
Was it
just, all of a sudden, again, like, I was a huge Ghostbusters fan, independent as well, too, and I realized Bill Murray was on SNL. Eddie Murphy was still a big deal. I'm like, oh, like, slowly throughout elementary school, you start to realize that all these important like heroes of yours got their break on SNL, as you guys know, So, I've always really enjoyed film history, and I kind of like the cultural fabric of it, not to get too douchey, and and
I'm sorry, you did get too douchey.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
This is the end of your appearance now. So thank you very much, Andy. No,
thanks very much, guys.
But no, I think that's interesting because that's kind of what you had to do in the pre-internet age. You couldn't just look this stuff up real easily.
You discovered it on your own.
You had to like put it together yourself.
Right.
And be like, oh yeah, hey, Bill Murray was on the show. Eddie Murphy was on the show.
I think for me, like I kind of discovered. I think I watched SNL first, and then from there I realized, oh, this Eddie Murphy guy does stand up. I should watch it. And then just my mind was.
Oh, that must have been so cool to discover Eddie Murphy like in his prime.
Yeah. Like I remember like watching. I think it was like one of those old, like when it had those old clip shows, like the best of Eddie Murphy, and then I would just watch that, and I would see him do like buckwheat and everything. I was like, wow, this guy's hilarious, and Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. And then when I was a kid, I remember hearing like, oh, he does stand up too, and I heard that his stand up, and it was not like what he was doing on SNL. It was
no.
See, for us, we. And I'm speaking for my wife here a little bit, but I think this is accurate. We came to know Eddie Murphy when he was already established. He was always like the already 90s era Eddie Murphy doing Nutty Professor. So he was already.
He was on like his third comeback then.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say that exact same thing. So for me to discover after the fact that he used to be this 20-year-old kid who was doing Raw and Delirious and all this crazy shit was really mind-blowing, after seeing him, so established growing up.
Yeah, I mean, he was a phenom. Like, he started SNL, he was like, what, 19 or 20? He was
like
I think he
19,
was
something like that.
super young, and like he was just like, he just hit the ground running. And everybody was like, whoa.
Right.
This kid's amazing.
Right.
All right, well, I mean, as far as SNL go, do you have any favorite Cast members, any favorite sketches that you?
I mean,
enjoy,
I think definitely in terms of era, just that first repeats that I used to see on Comedy Central, that 86 to 92, 93 golden era, were just like
the Dana Carvey era.
Yeah,
type of thing.
John
exactly.
Lovitz, Phil Hartman.
Yep, yeah,
Jan Hooks,
exactly.
Nora Dunn,
Yeah, yeah.
Victoria
Oh,
Jackson.
amazing.
Let's name everyone.
Kev O'Nealon.
Yeah. Oh, we met Kevin Nealon too. Actually.
What?
Yeah, we met him in Annapolis. He signed the book.
Oh, fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, I gotta see that book and see
Yeah.
who signed it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Chevy Chase, Al Franken as of last night.
Oh, wow.
Shout out the senator from Minnesota.
Nice. Wow. And you met Chevy Chase. Was he cool? Or?
He was a little curmudgeonly. I mean,
Really?
yeah.
Chevy Chase was unpleasant. I don't think I've ever heard this before.
He wasn't rude to me, but it's just the guy's what, like 76 or something, and you're
Probably,
kind of
yeah.
like, okay, you're getting up there. So
Yeah.
I've heard all the horror stories, and I definitely get it. I mean, a part of me thinks that like that's his persona a little bit.
History's
so,
greatest monster.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. But no, I spoke to him briefly about Michael O'Donoghue, and he was kind of confused, and I was like, oh, okay, and then I left.
Like confused, like why are you bringing up Michael O'Donoghue,
Yeah, I
or
mean, it was
confused,
just-
like I don't know who Michael
No,
O'Donoghue
no.
is.
Wasn't that bad? No, it was you guys know Dennis Perrin? I think that's his last name. He wrote this definitive like 400
right,
page
yeah,
book on Michael O'Donoghue.
Mr. Mike, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a great book, great history. But I was at the Rhode Island Comic Con, and Chevy Chase was there because they were doing a vacation reunion.
Right.
And I messaged Dennis and I said, hey, like I'd love to ask Chevy a question about Mr. Mike, because they were very close.
Right.
So he had me ask about some screenplay that Chevy and Michael had worked on in the early 80s. I'm forgetting the name of it now, but he wanted me to touch base with Chevy and see if he had anything unique to say about it. And Chevy didn't seem to really. I mean, again, we're going back like almost 40 years. He didn't have
Right.
like total recall about some script that him and his buddy had written and then shelved.
And
you know
it,
what I mean?
yeah, so it was never produced.
Right. So it's like, I want to give the guy the benefit of the doubt and not just say that he's losing his marbles or anything. But I was
Right.
kind of like, oh, you think when you interact with these people that they'll just immediately know what you're
Right.
talking about, and it's just they're regular
Yeah.
people.
Right. You
Even when they're
think-
superstars, they're regular people.
And I get that because I'm sorry, your wife just pushed you towards the mic again. It was very amusing. And I get that because like one of the things I do freelance writing as well for a magazine called Back Issue. It deals with comic books, and so all the time I'm asking people about stuff they did 20, 30,
Right.
40 years ago.
Right.
And you have to remember. They haven't been rereading this stuff for 40 years.
Yeah, they aren't thinking about it obsessively like
Yeah,
we
to them,
sadly are.
Yeah, to them
And-
it's just a job. It's the,
Right.
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 And and a lot of times people just do not remember.
Yeah.
And you have to just roll with that.
And you end up feeling like one of the Trek nerds in that Star Trek convention.
Yo,
with the,
Exactly,
That's
exactly. When you went to Yeoman Rand's cabin, what was the cabin number?
It's like,
Get a
guys,
life.
Guys,
Yeah.
get a life.
Yeah.
It's like you. When was the last time you touched a woman?
And they made a William Shatner joke last night on Update.
They did.
Yes, they,
Yeah.
They did. I noticed that. Yeah.
it
There's-
all comes full
Mr.
circle.
Shatner was in the news this week, but
Yeah.
we will get to that. So
Yeah, way
so
to smoothly transition
Yep.
into what.
that was brilliant, sir.
Nice.
So yeah, well, let's get to the main topic because we haven't even said what show we're covering yet. This is SNL season 45, episode 15. Daniel Craig hosting, The Weeknd musical guesting. This is the show from March 7th, 2020. So this is Daniel Craig's second time hosting. He last hosted
2013, I want to
yeah,
say.
yeah. It was
Yeah.
about like 7, 8, 9 years ago. So yeah, and he talked about that a little in the monologue. But let's see, let's dive in, guys.
Let's
Are we
dive
ready?
in. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure,
Okay.
let's do it.
So first we got the cold open, which was the Ingram Angle coronavirus cold open with Kate McKinnon as Laura Ingram on Fox News,
Yes.
the Joey Fatone of Fox News,
Yeah,
as she said.
that's
I like that.
very apt.
Good line. Good line. Just reporting on the left's reaction to the coronavirus and what she called the coronavirus smear campaign.
Yes, exactly.
And it was kind of a harbinger of the show's obsession with the coronavirus.
A
throughout
lot
the
about the
episode.
coronavirus
Like,
this week.
the show usually does not stick to a theme so heavily, but this was like almost every sketch had a coronavirus reference at some point.
It's
And
pretty-
this started it.
It's pretty Corona heavy.
It's
hot right now.
It was in the news a lot this week,
Yeah.
so I
Yep.
get it, and maybe they're really feeling that.
Right, exactly.
So-
And Laura Ingraham was just bringing up other stuff. I mean, she was bringing up how like Bernie's running mate would be the ghost of Fidel Castro, and she was saying, she was basically saying like stuff that she was telling the audience like, oh, there's stuff you should really worry about, like women who keep their maiden names, fat Barbies, and what's the maid saying?
Yeah, those are good lines. And we also had Cecily Strong come back as Judge Janine Pirro, and let's
So
see.
great.
And
Yeah, she really does a great Pierrot.
Oh, yeah.
it's
It
wonderful.
transcends the actual person. Like, I feel like that
Yeah.
could exist as a character. Like, I feel like some people don't even know who Janine Pirro is. You
I
know what
didn't.
I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I really
I don't
did.
think I had
Yeah.
heard of her before I saw
Katie didn't either.
Cecily,
Yeah.
because I don't really
I just
watch
ignore
the
that
Fox
shit.
News.
Yeah,
so.
right.
As you shouldn't.
But yeah, I sort of gradually realized, oh, that's a real person that's on Fox.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've since seen some clips of her, and I'm like, oh yes, she's genuinely horrifying.
Right.
Okay. and we also get a return of Don Jr. and Eric Trump in this one.
Yeah, odd to see them in a sketch.
I was
And-
about to say that all three of these characters, Ingram, Pirro, and the Trump brothers, they all kind of vacillate in between update and appearing in actual sketches, which
Yeah.
I think is kind of unique. Usually, it's you have your own turf.
Yeah,
No, that's very true. That's very
that
true.
is interesting. Yeah, and it's been a while since we've seen the Trump brothers on
Right, yeah.
on Update. Even I've said like a week or two ago, I was like, I kind of miss the Trump brothers.
I know. Like, I mean, the back and
Yes.
forth that Mikey and Alex have is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like when Alex just kind of like mimics what Mikey Day's doing, and
Right.
Mike
Right.
is like, "Hey, what's going on there, bud?"
Yeah,
like
yeah.
little things like that, like really kind of get me.
Yeah, I really enjoy how they've developed those characters over the last few years.
Yeah,
And
it's
just-
way better than the Alec Baldwin.
yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because there's an actual character there, not to, lay that one out there. 'Cause
No,
I feel like,
it's true. Like
I feel like knocking the Baldwin Trump is kind of cliche too in its own right. But-
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I mean,
is.
I think the show kind of realizes like. I don't know if it's like a conscious choice the show made or if it's like Alec Baldwin just doesn't want to do it much anymore or both.
Right.
But they've really backed away from Baldwin as Trump. They
Yeah.
only bring him out when they absolutely have to.
I remember seeing somebody tweet this online. Like, there's how they were saying, well, if they're okay with different people playing Joe Biden, why can't they be okay with different people playing Trump? And I think at this point, that's a fine idea. Like, I really
Yeah.
wouldn't mind seeing somebody else take a shot at Trump and
I mean,
breathing some new life into it.
I agree with that. I think the issue is that Trump is such a larger than life personality, and Biden, there's like something kind of like vanilla about him that I think makes it genuinely hard to do an impression of him. You know what I mean? Like,
I can see that.
I mean, Sudeikis like had a good hook, but I don't know if like he just isn't available or if he doesn't want to do it, or I'm not sure what the deal is there. But
I mean, is Sudeikis local? Does he live in the city?
I'm sure he's in L.A., right? Because he's married to like Olivia Wilde.
Yeah,
like-
so he's probably a West Coaster.
Yeah, I would think so. But I've this is a tangent, but I've been very disappointed in their coverage of Biden this year. First of all, I think Woody Harrelson, John Mulaney, they're all great performers, but they were not Joe Biden at
Right,
all.
right.
Almost like acknowledging the fact that there's no there. And then I think that the show's like ageist and ableist jokes are very distasteful about
Interesting.
Yeah,
Wow, never
thought
I
about
can see
that.
that. I can see that. I think the show is definitely at the point now. They're going to have to get a regular cast member to play Joe Biden because
Right.
there were some events in the presidential run up to the presidential election this week that we might have occasion to comment on.
we might have. We might.
So back to the sketch. We had another old SNL cast member come up. We had Daryl Hammond returning as Chris Matthews.
Hey.
Yeah, who would have thought? Like,
I was surprised to see that.
If you had that on your bingo card, congratulations. I did not think that they'd bring back Chris Matthews.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Chris Matthews also in the news this week. He had
true.
a week. Like last Monday, he came on Hardball and he was like, "See you losers, I'm gone." And then they
Peace!
cut. Yeah, and then they get. I don't know if you watched this footage, but it's on YouTube and it's hilarious. Of the anchor who had to take over after he announced he was
I
leaving.
did see that. Yeah,
Dude,
that
And it
was
was
hilarious.
literally like 15 minutes into the show, and
Dude, me and my wife, we were watching it as it happened. The TV was just on MSNBC, and Chris Matthews came on, and he was like, "Yeah, this is my last episode. I'm gonna leave now." And we were all like, wait, what? What did he say? And then they cut to like an anchor saying, "Oh, he genuinely looked shocked. Like this is the first.
Right.
This is the first he's hearing of this."
Yeah, he was obviously thrown on the air with little to no prep time, which is always interesting to see. But I mean, it was very interesting to see Daryl Hammond come back because Daryl Hammond he's been the announcer for the show the last few years, taking over after Don Pardo unfortunately passed away. But he hasn't really mixed in with the sketches.
No,
with
I
any
mean, he
cameos or
appeared
anything.
once earlier this season, right?
I
During
think.
one of the political sketches. I'm trying to remember which character he was, but yeah, no, I was thinking when I saw him as Chris Matthews that given the fact that he's still affiliated with the show, it's a little surprising they don't tap him more.
Yeah,
you know?
especially since Donald Trump was one of the characters he did back in the day.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I don't know how much interest Hammond has in that, but I mean, I have the feeling if he wanted to be on the show more, he could be. But anyway, but it was nice to see him because his Chris Matthews was always good, and I enjoyed that. Yeah, he had a nice line. He was, because the premise was like, since he's left MSNBC, he's now a commentator on Fox News, and he was like, "Oh, I like it here. Everyone here is hot or crazy or both."
Sounds accurate.
Yeah, and he also is, you know, like the premise is Chris Matthews is enjoying being on Fox because he can just say
Cut
the
loose, finally.
casually sexist comments, and everybody there at Fox is okay with it.
Right.
Oh yeah, I think Daryl Hammond he played Clinton, right? When they did a cold open
Yeah,
a
I
few
think he
years
did do a
ago. I think
cameo
that
as
was it.
Clinton.
That was it. All
I
right,
think that was it.
So
yeah.
I just wanted to look it up, make sure I got it right.
Oh, well, thank you for that.
Okay, and so later in the sketch, they had a point where Laura Ingraham, played by Kate McKinnon, said, "All right, now we're going to go to Elizabeth Warren." And in my mind, I thought, well, wait a minute, Kate always plays Elizabeth Warren. Who are they going to get to play Elizabeth Warren?
How are they going to do this?
And sure enough, they got Elizabeth Warren.
The real life Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, Twitter's blowing up about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that shocked me.
Because I guess she has a little more time on her hands right now.
You could say that. It's got
Yeah.
calendars.
Let's just pour one out for Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, Daryl and I, we actually both endorsed Elizabeth Warren a couple weeks ago on the show.
Yeah.
Hoping to give her the SNL nerds
SNL
bump.
yeah. And
That did not happen.
bumped her right off the election.
When is the
Yeah.
New Jersey primary? Is it coming up?
Not until June.
Oh,
we
okay.
get it
Well,
really
you guys
late.
endorsed too early then.
Yeah,
Like,
damn it.
You got to time it.
Oh! Son of a.
Well, it's kind of a moot point now.
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, this was great. Elizabeth Warren, she had like a few things to say about like, oh, I don't know who I'll endorse. Maybe I'll just pull a New York Times and endorse both.
I like the teacher's pet one-off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's always been my personal gripe with both Warren's persona and her base. Is it is like a lot of like the kids who like always had their hands raised at the front of the class.
Right.
And you're like, okay, guys, it's like politics. I'm sorry, it's not a meritocracy. Like just because you are presenting yourself as the smartest or the best doesn't mean shit. You know, like,
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely.
And like stop trying to shame people for
being smart.
right.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
yeah.
what do you know things? You can't be president. It's like,
We do have a real aversion to smart people.
Yeah, I don't
in
know
this country.
what is
I
going
don't
on
know.
here.
And it's like, no, in politics, you want a smart person.
I want the smartest person in the room. I don't know anything. I'm a dum-dum.
Yeah, I want the president to be smarter than me and better informed than me and
Yeah.
like just a better person than me.
That shouldn't be a controversial thing to say.
No.
I just want smart people to do things that I don't know how to do.
But they gave Elizabeth Warren a few good lines. And she said at one point, like, I not only didn't take money from billionaires, I got to give one a swirly on live TV.
Yeah. I had to tell my wife what a swirly was. She didn't know.
That's funny.
And then they did like a little thing where as Elizabeth Warren is talking, like Kate McKinnon comes up running dressed as her. Like I guess she just like did a
She
really
did a quick change. She's like
very-
adjusting her wig on air.
Yeah, it's very Dana Carvey as Ross Perot and
Yeah,
George
yeah.
Bush, which I think Kate has done that one other time during one of the debates too, as well.
Yeah.
It was Warren, and I'm trying to think who else she played. I'm blanking at the moment.
Oh
but
right, no, that I can't
she
remember.
came in at the end as somebody, and
Hillary, maybe. Or
Yeah.
Don't remember.
I know
don't
you're talking.
remember.
Pelosi.
yeah,
There it is.
Yeah,
She
there
was
it is.
Okay. Okay.
She was Elizabeth Warren, then she ran off stage and came back dressed as Pelosi.
Yeah,
Oh,
Boom.
well. Yeah,
it's impressive.
Yeah, it's
Like
it's
They-
a lot.
I mean, it's impressive on Kate's part. It's impressive on like the
Costuming.
dressers
Yeah.
and the people who have to prep that and
Right.
make sure it happens. And yeah, it's impressive and it's amusing and it's all those things.
Right,
So,
right. So as far as cold open goes, not bad.
Yeah,
pretty good
yeah.
cold open. Pretty good cold open.
I also enjoyed, like, there was another nice line they gave to Elizabeth Warren. She said, "I'm not dead. I'm just in the Senate," which I enjoyed that. That was good. So this was interesting. It was a good cold open and hit on a lot of things.
Yeah, hit on a lot of things.
The coronavirus, Chris Matthews, and the
yeah.
Elizabeth Warren cameo. But
Trump boys. Yeah, that Elizabeth Warren thing is really blowing up on the internet.
Yeah, the clip of them dancing. Back
Oh,
and
yeah,
forth.
they're
little shimmying.
and they're
yeah.
literally like switching off. I mean, it's great. Elizabeth Warren seems like she has a really good sense of humor.
Yeah.
I dig it.
And there's also a nice clip online of just them hugging, just like a gif of them hugging. Good night, and during the good nights, and Kate gives Elizabeth Warren like a little peck on the cheek, which is it's just very sweet. So
Warms your heart.
it does.
Okay.
It does.
So then we get into the monologue. Daniel Craig comes out.
And-
He's all Daniel Craigy, all handsome and British.
Yes, and
He's not a nerd.
no,
just-
and he talked about like how his life has sort of changed, and he's like a resident in New York City now, which I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm gonna have to walk around the city in hopes of running into Daniel Craig and
Yeah.
Rachel Weisz. I mean,
Yeah,
that would be a
yeah.
cool day.
Yes.
Oh my God. That's the
I doubt they would pose for a selfie, but
Yeah. And he has a couple of jokes about the new James Bond movie. Talks about how like Phoebe Waller-Bridge writes for it, and he had like a little Phoebe Waller-Bridge joke in there.
right.
I mentioned this in the Entertainment Weekly piece. They made more of a joke about Fleabag during the Daniel Craig episode than they did when Fleabag was actually on the show. Like
Yeah.
they never
Yeah.
did like a formal spoof or anything of the show that had like captured the zeitgeist.
Yeah,
which I
that's
thought was
weird. Like I
interesting.
think when Phoebe was on, not many people knew about Fleabag, so maybe a little bit more people know about it now.
Yeah, that
because
could
it
be.
won all those
the
awards and
awards,
stuff.
yeah.
What's this? But yeah, then they did kind of something interesting in the monologue where Daniel Craig was like, "Hey, we know because of the coronavirus, the movie got delayed, but we're going to show you the sneak peek of the movie right now." And then they cut
the
to
new
a
James Bond movie,
yeah,
No
the new
Time
James,
to Die.
new James Bond movie. But
And then it was just a short film.
yeah, they cut
during
to
the
a
monologue.
pre-tape. during the
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Not to that extent. Like it was very long.
It was
I mean,
a-
the
it was-
whole joke. the whole
I remember
premise.
like they've done some stuff. I remember like one time when Tom Hanks hosted, he was like, "Oh, here's a deleted scene from Big."
All right,
and it was just like Tom Hanks beating up little kids.
Yeah.
like
But I mean-
look at how big I am. But I mean, this was impressive. It looked like something that could actually be from a film.
It shot really well, and this was like a full sketch in the monologue.
Like maybe
Yeah.
they originally intended it to be its own like standalone short film, and then somehow they like shoehorned it into being the monologue premise.
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
who
what I
knows?
was wondering about. It just seems very elaborate for a monologue joke.
Well, I know they write the monologue like very last minute.
Right.
Yeah,
So
like
maybe
on
they
the
didn't have
day.
any ideas, and they were like, let's
Yeah.
just use this and plop it in.
Yeah.
Probably, but either way, it works. So I mean, basically, what happened to show this a scene from No Time, quote unquote, scene from No Time to Die. It's James Bond walking into a casino, very suavely, talks to Chloe Fineman, who's all dolled up.
She's done up to look kind of like Anna D. Armas, who's going to be
Oh.
the new Bond girl.
I didn't even realize that.
Well, they
Wow.
gave her like the dark hair and all that.
Yeah, it's a
and,
Knives Out reunion.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Wait, look at this!
So-
Wow, look at me learning.
That and Chloe looked great. They really
Yeah,
glammed
she
her
was-
up, and
I was
she-
like-
she looked wonderful. And it's like the sort of scene that you've seen in a million James Bond movies, where he goes into a casino and
Right.
he's doing wonderfully, and here he starts playing craps, and he gets very giddy when he starts winning craps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it reminded me of the Steve Martin James Bond sketch that he did with Victoria Jackson back in like
Bullets aren't
1987.
cheap.
Yes,
Yes.
bullets aren't cheap. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gold sting.
Yeah, the show they actually like tweeted out or they put up on YouTube a compilation of previous
Right.
James Bond sketches that they'd done, and I watched and enjoyed that this week. That was very fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
So throughout the sketch, James Bond wins more as he plays craps, and he gets kind of surrounded by kind of casino trashy people, I guess.
yeah, and they're not
casino
like,
trash.
Yeah, they're not like the glamorous people you see in a casino in a James
Yeah.
Bond movie. They're the type of people you would see in like Atlantic City at
Yes.
2 in the morning.
Yes, exactly. People at Circus,
Right.
and whatnot in Vegas.
Right.
And so he's like he keeps winning and winning. He orders Red Bull and vodka in a pint glass at one
Yes.
point. And it's just him winning and getting more giddy and like shooting his gun in the air. I'm James Bond, motherfucker. Like just he's really getting into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as far as sketches go, I thought it was a pretty cool little sketch.
I enjoyed this. I thought this was funny. It's it's fun to play like the image of James Bond against the type of things that most people run into in a casino.
Right, yeah.
And also he's reacting in such an un-James Bond-like way because he's always like the coolest guy in the room. So it's neat to see him be like,
yeah, especially Daniel Craig. It's always fun to see him kind of cut loose a little bit, which we saw several times during this episode.
Yeah. It's fun to see him like kind of poke holes in his image and have fun with it. And I think it made it all the funnier because it was a genuine James Bond doing this.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So that was neat. So I think that was getting the show off to a strong start.
Absolutely. So next up, first sketch. Well, actually, the second sketch, technically. The Sands of Modesto.
Yeah, this was interesting. This was like a soap opera parody, but because of concerns over the coronavirus, or returning to our episode theme, they altered the staging of the scene. So the actors aren't getting close to each other, and they're
spliced in random shots of Barbies.
Yeah. And they're doing all these things so that they don't have to touch each other on the face. They don't have to shake hands. They don't have to embrace.
There's one point where like two people are supposed to shake hands, but they cut in like stock footage of like two other people shaking hands, or like
We see Daniel Craig on one end of the couch and Kate McKinnon on the other, and he's got like an fake arm that he's using to like pat her on the shoulder or shake her hand.
Yeah, I mean there was one cool line where Kate goes to the door and it's Chloe Fineman's character. And Kate's like, I heard you were killed in a plane crash. And Chloe's like, that's what I was told. but I wasn't. I'm fine. And then they do other things like Daniel Craig and Kate McKinnon Daniel Craig has to kiss Kate McKinnon because there's like all this romantic tension and a passionate kiss. And he puts up like some plexiglass between them. There's one point where they're supposed to make love, and he puts like a huge roll of like saran wrap around her.
Yeah.
Just pulls it out of nowhere.
Basically just covers Kate with cellophane. And
yes, very much so.
Yeah. And we had Cicely come in as Daniel Craig's ex-wife, and she has a cat fight with Kate where they just literally do a cutaway with two Barbie dolls fighting.
Yeah.
And then the sketch ends when Cecily sneezes unexpectedly and everyone just freezes.
Yeah, everybody's like, no, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
What was interesting about this sketch and the cold open is you saw Cecily and Kate, interacting with each other. And for some reason, particularly this season, it seems like there's almost like two different shows. There's like the Kate-driven sketches and then the Cecily-driven sketches. And personally, like I'm just kind of going off my instinct. Like I haven't seen too many moments this year where they're sharing the spotlight. So to have it two sketches back to back, I thought was interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. No, I mean, because they've both been with the show for a long time, and so they're both like kind of the heavyweights of the show at this point.
You see Kate and 80 all the time together. They're like a comedy duo practically.
Right.
Wow, I never thought of that. Yeah, I guess you're right. Wow.
I hadn't thought of that before, but I'm going to keep an eye out for that.
I mean, hopefully the math adds up, but it's just an impression I've had.
Well, no, I never thought. Wow, you've opened up our minds there, Andy.
Wow. Yeah, that's
interesting.
My brain is exploding like in the movie Scanners.
Oh God, got to clean all this up.
Yeah.
All right. As far as sketches go, Santa Modesto, I thought it was all right.
I thought it was decent.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like the Californians a little bit, like that sort of thing.
I can see a little that in that it was like the fake soap opera format, but I think it was a little unlike the Californians in that it actually amused me.
There you go.
So
that's a very divisive sketch. I'm not sure why they continued to run with that at the time.
Did people like that sketch? Like,
well, they brought it back on SNL 40. So,
dude, what was that? Like a 10-minute Californian sketch on that. I'll never.
It's just a way to bring in a bunch of cast members, and you don't need to really like worry about the premise.
It's an easy character for people to play.
Yeah, like you want Betty White to make out with Bradley Cooper. Here you go. Here's a Californian.
I don't want that.
Yeah,
I didn't ask for that at all.
I feel like the Californians was always something that amused the people on the show much more than the audience.
It feels like something that got developed in like Groundlings or something, and they're like, oh, like this will be perfect, and we can just do it forever. It doesn't evolve, Yeah.
No, it was literally like the same sketch every time.
Yeah, like it used to be, when you had Wayne's World, like we were talking about earlier, or that Golden Age, you had the same recurring sketches or sketch characters, but the premises would change or fluctuate. You'd see
Right.
Pat in a different situation.
The church lady would be talking to different people each time, but
right.
you know,
Yeah.
But Californians is I'm with you guys.
okay,
All right.
Yeah.
Yay, fist bump.
Yeah.
Insert stock footage of fist bumping.
Yes, yes.
There we go.
There we go. Back on track.
All right.
So next we had a pre-tape, a music video called "On the Couch"
Yes.
with Keenan, Chris Redd, and The Weeknd, and these were all these.
Like R&B
R&B
video.
I really like
rappers.
this.
Yeah, like kind of the Lonely Island feel to it.
Yeah,
Right.
and their ladies are making them sleep on the couch because they've
I'm sleeping on the couch
they've-
tonight. I'm sleeping on
has a
they're
good
just
voice.
they're just doing bad things, and their
Right.
women are making them sleep on the couch,
Well,
and,
I mean,
and
they
we
don't-
find out the various things that they've done over the course of the song.
Right. So, I mean, it's kind of straightforward for a bit, like saying, oh, my wife's making me sleep on the couch, my girl's making me sleep on the couch. But they don't say why till the end. And at the end, you learn that, one of the guys...
Cheating.
Cheating. He cheated on his girl on the couch that he was made to sleep on.
Right.
One guy, I think, like took out a life insurance policy in his girl's
Credit
name.
card debt. Yeah.
Credit card debt. And then the last guy, The Weeknd, the girl says, "Yeah, we broke up like 5 years ago."
I'm married to Daniel Craig now,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
Daniel Craig comes on as
He's
her new
been
husband.
squatting.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were
He's a
like,
squatter.
"You have to
Yeah.
leave."
Yeah, exactly. And then they cut to The Weeknd saying, "I'm sleeping in my car tonight." And then they have Daniel Craig knock on the window and say, "Yeah, you got to get out of our driveway."
Yeah.
And then it's like, "All right, no, I'll go."
I really like this more so. I mean, I always generally like the Chris Redd stuff, but this one I thought was very catchy and had a
Yeah.
fun premise to it.
Yeah, very catchy. And like, I could be nuts, but it seemed like The Weeknd had some like comedy chops here.
Yeah,
He was kinda
I
funny.
agree. Yeah,
I was like, why is he going to do more comedy? I mean, I know he did that Uncut Gems movie recently, but I was like, oh, like maybe The Weeknd's going to do a little bit more comedy, maybe do some more acting. There's something there. He was pretty funny.
Dipping his toe in the water.
Dipping his toe.
I thought this was funny. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, not bad.
So next we had a sketch called Daytime Show. That's what it's called on the
Yes.
YouTube. This was a daytime talk show called The Deidre Show.
Right.
With 80 as the host and Ego as the guest.
Cookie LaFleur,
Who was like a
R&B singer.
R&B singer.
Old-time R&B
Diva.
singer. Diva.
Yeah, a diva. And then Daniel Craig is a visiting chef. He's Chef Clyde.
Right.
And he's making food for them.
Yeah, like
as
during
you do.
a cooking segment on a daytime talk show.
Right.
They're making hors d'oeuvres, which of course is French for horse doves.
Yes.
so I saw on Twitter earlier. Mike Ryan tweeted that this sketch was supposed to be used last week.
Yes, this is the
Yeah,
this
with
is the
John
holdover.
Mulaney.
Yes, this is the holdover from last week.
Interesting. So I'm assuming it was going to be John Mulaney and the Daniel Craig
Yeah,
part.
right.
But that's interesting because those two go up for the same parts so
All the
often.
time. Yeah.
I mean, John Mulaney came this close to playing James Bond.
He'll
So
take
close.
over.
I would pay money to see that movie, by the way.
My name is Bond, James Bond.
I have a license to kill, as you do.
Those are great impressions.
Right? John Mulaney, you're always welcome on the
Yeah.
podcast. So basically what happens on this cooking segment is the chef is making like these little pastry things with like some foil on it.
Right.
And Ego Woden's character Cookie is about to like try it, and the chef makes some like offhand flippant comments like, "Oh yeah, make sure you don't eat the foil."
Right.
And
And it sets Ego off.
yeah, she's like, "Of course I'm not gonna eat the foil. What makes you think I'd eat the foil?" And it's like, "Yeah, no, it's okay. It's just something I'm saying." And like they kind of laugh it off, but like Ego can't let it go. She's like, "No, well, let's go back to this foil thing. What made you think I would eat the foil?" Like, I know I don't eat foil. And did you know what this was a reference to? This sketch?
No.
All right, because like I found
Please
out.
enlighten me.
I found out on Twitter. This whole sketch was a reference to an episode of the Tyra Banks show, where they had when they had Patti LaBelle on.
Okay.
And it's on Twitter. You can see it. Like there was the same thing. It was a cooking segment where Patti LaBelle was on the Tyra Banks show, and they had a chef on. And I think Patty was about to take like one of the little cupcakes because they made cupcakes.
Right.
And the cupcakes have that little foil paper sleeve thing around them.
Right.
And the chef said, "Oh, here's try a cupcake. Make sure you don't eat the paper."
So they literally took this sketch.
Yeah,
and
no,
went
they
after
did.
the Tyra Banks.
And like,
wow.
yeah,
I did not
and
know that.
yeah, and like so, like when she told Patty LaBelle don't eat the paper, it's like, of course I'm not gonna eat the paper. And like they all kind of laughed it off, but you could tell Patty was really bothered by that comment. Like it really got to her.
Like
Okay.
Yeah, and she's like, no, don't think I eat paper. Like I was trying to say the paper, like Nathan, hold the paper. Like it got a little awkward there for a minute.
Wow. Okay.
So
okay.
yeah, so this sketch was based off of that incident from the Tyra Banks show.
This is really interesting because I watched this and I was just like I don't get this, but knowing that it was referencing something that specific,
Yeah.
I feel kind of like we did on the RuPaul show,
Yeah,
where-
with the designing women
with
thing.
the designing women
Oh,
sketch, and
yeah.
I had no idea that was referencing designing women.
Right.
Yeah, that went over my head too.
Yeah, but I mean, if you were familiar with that initial source, you were probably like, ah,
Finally, a designing women sketch.
yeah.
made for me. But even though like I didn't know about that Tyra Banks connection until like after the sketch, I still thought the sketch was okay. But once you know about that little Tyra Banks thing, kind of.
I mean, I thought it was a great character for Ego. I'd love
Yeah.
to see Cookie come back. You know.
in like other contexts.
Yeah, like I'm always like
throwing
searching,
a hissy fit about.
Right. Like I'm always like searching for the show to like bring back some of these original characters that have clearly been like developed and workshopped before.
Right.
I mean, have them be one-offs.
Yeah. I liked the character that Ego did on Weekend Update recently, where she was
Yes.
talking about Black History Month, and she was
Yes.
talking about all these people in history. It was like, oh no, this person offended me, so he's history.
Right. I mean,
I thought that was a character that could come back. So.
I mean, I know we said this on the podcast before, but I really like how they're giving the new cast members a lot to do, like more and more stuff to do. Like like I've seen Chloe quite a bit. I've seen Chris Red quite a bit.
Yeah.
Ego and Heidi. I mean, Heidi's not new, but still, she's fairly new.
Yeah.
But like they're giving them a lot more to do, like a lot more stuff to carry. And
Yeah, it
I
could be
appreciate
they're
that.
anticipating Cecily or Kate leaving or something.
Yeah,
I mean,
possibly.
they gotta be considering that possibility because, I think I read that Cecily might be in the last year of her contract.
She has her new
but-
Amazon show or Apple show.
Yeah, she's got some
Yeah.
show coming up, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she might do both. I mean, 80 has that Hulu show.
True.
So
Very true.
Shrill.
Shrill, yeah. And actually, I just realized that we didn't see a lot of Pete Davidson in this episode.
No.
He
He was a no show.
He was
And
MIA.
I read a little gossip thing this week. Apparently, he was a
Hot
no
goss.
show at the last after party too.
Yeah, the Page
Ooh.
6.
he gave an interview and he was like, "Yeah, everybody there thinks I'm dumb," and
Yeah.
and it's just like,
Yeah, I don't know if you want to do that to people you're still working with.
so it feels like he's
You might have one foot out the door again.
it feels like he's burning some bridges.
Yeah.
yeah,
So.
just set it all on fire before you leave.
Yeah.
I hear you. All right, so next sketch, we have this wedding sketch where
Table 9.
Table 9, yeah. It's like it's in this wedding reception. Everybody's eating and having fun, and then this one person comes and sit down at this table at this wedding reception, and the person is wearing like a gas mask.
Yeah, as that congressman did.
Yes. Wait,
This
which
week.
congressman?
There was some congressman from Florida who like they were signing
Matt
some.
Gates, I think.
I don't recall his name, but yeah, he like came on the floor and he was wearing a gas mask. It's like,
I didn't know that. Wow.
to troll the libs.
Okay.
All this false outrage, and somebody died in his district.
Oh, well.
from coronavirus. So jokes on you.
Yeah. Hey-o.
Yeah, but he owned the libs. So
Oh, wow, we get political.
Yeah.
All right, so this woman comes to this wedding reception table wearing a gas mask. And like when I first saw this, I was like, oh, they're doing another Corona sketch? That seems like a coronavirus. It seems like a lot. And I was genuinely shocked with this one because the woman takes off her gas mask at the table, comes to find out Rachel Dratch as Debbie Downer.
wah, wah.
We get a Debbie Downer sketch in 2020.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
14 years later, I think.
Yeah.
14 years- yeah. It's been a minute.
Yeah. You looked it up. You said the last time she did the character was in the second time she did the sketch with Lindsay Lohan in 2006.
Yeah.
9 appearances total.
And she was in like SNL 42, I think, for a hot second.
Right.
Yeah, originally I thought this was just another Amy Klobuchar thing. Like I had
Oh,
no
yeah.
idea.
Because she's
that it was
been on the
gonna
show a
be-
lot lately as Amy. Yeah.
It's very true. And and then they just go into their regular Debbie Downer sketch about, how there's much more to worry about now, like, of course, coronavirus. And then I believe Debbie said, oh, yeah, I got the bride and groom a gift, some, what was it, like a...
I made a donation in your name.
to feline AIDS.
Yeah,
Right.
always
Which
Which
is
feline AIDS.
Call back to a classic Debbie Downer sketch. Wah, wah.
Yeah. I mean, this... I mean, this made me smile. I mean, I don't know if it was just because of the nostalgia part of it or what, but I was like, Debbie Downer. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I think someone tweeted at me earlier that at this point, like Rachel Dratch should just be a cast member again and take Pete Davidson's spot because she's been in like the last 3 episodes and I think 5 overall. So 5 out of 5. I would be very curious to see the screen time if she has more screen time this season than Pete Davidson.
She might have.
At this point, she might.
I think
because
so.
he's only done like I think a few Weekend Update sketches and
Right.
and
The airport
I
thing.
I would be for that. I would be. I
Yeah.
got no problem with Rachel Dratch coming back.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I'd love it.
Although, revivals of classic SNL characters often lead to more disappointment than genuine laughter.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. But no, it was kind of fun to see Debbie Downer back because that's a character I think that people didn't really get sick of. I don't think they drove it into the ground too much, and
No.
and it's been a long time since we've seen that character come back. So so it was fun.
Yeah, so I was cool with the sketch. I dug it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so next up we had the Weeknd doing some performances. He did 2 songs, "Blinding Lights" and "Scared to Live."
Yep.
Is the Weeknd okay? Because I'm getting concerned about
You're
him.
a little worried.
Well,
he looked a little beaten up in the second song.
Yeah,
He had a Band-Aid on.
Yeah, he was like,
Yeah, he has this weird look now. Like, I don't know if it's for his album. It looks like it's for his album because I think his album coming out, it has like him with like a bloody mouth and looks like he just got beaten up by the mob. And
Yeah.
when he was performing, he had like a nose bandage and like and he's performing.
and he still had that look on the Good Nights too.
yeah,
So,
and he's performing these songs called "Scared to Live." Like, is he like on? Does he owe the mob some money or something? Is he okay? Is he okay? What's happening here? Are these cries for help?
I don't know. But I mean, besides the face wounds, he had like kind of a cool '80s look. He had like
Yeah.
a
The
black suit
blazer.
with the red blazer and the
Yeah.
black gloves. He looked,
Yeah.
very
Very synth-heavy songs, like something you
Yeah.
see in the movie Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
very true.
Or
Yeah.
or something you hear in like Grand Theft Auto Vice City or something like that. It's very
maybe he just got into a fight with a prostitute like in Vice City or something.
as
and-
you do.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, maybe his health bar was getting a little low, so he had to.
Wow, maybe that's it. Wow, I
Yeah,
didn't think about that.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, as far as songs goes, I kind of dug these. I mean, I'm kind of hot and cold on the weekend. I'm cold on the weekend. I mean, I'm hot. I think he's all right. I like his. He's a good singer. He's he's a pretty strong singer. So I like these songs. I thought they're all right.
I
Yeah.
thought they were all right. Yeah.
Not bad. All right. Well,
They had a good mood. Very evocative.
Yeah, yeah.
They were
80s
very
synth
short
thing.
songs.
That
though.
too, yeah.
Like for both of them, I was like startled that they ended so quickly.
Yeah.
'Cause-
I mean, I'm sure people at SNL were pretty happy about that because it seemed to be running a little long in this episode.
Yeah, maybe.
Because like Weekend Update didn't come on until like around 12:15 or something like that. I was like,
I guess they like the music segments to be shorter rather than longer, but
I can dig it.
yeah, I don't know.
All right. So next up, Weekend Update. Jost and Che.
Che.
Hey.
Still drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You saw that too,
Interesting callback. Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
dug
Very
that.
boozy
that
update.
was like
Did
a
he didn't-
runner from episode to episode. That was
Yeah.
very interesting.
Right? They didn't even make any mention of it. He just like casually pulled out a glass of scotch and started
Yeah.
drinking. It was
That's just what Michael Che does during Update now.
I respect that. I respect that.
Yeah, and I liked. He said like they were talking, of course, about like the Democratic debates and all that,
Nominees,
and the people who dropped out. Because we had a fair amount of people drop out.
I think since the last
in the
time we
last
did
week,
this episode,
yeah.
we like 3 people dropped out.
We had
Well,
Pete
no,
Buttigieg.
Four.
We had Amy Klobuchar. We had Elizabeth Warren. And,
Steyer.
Berg and Steyer.
Oh
Five.
yeah, Steyer
oh
and
my goodness.
Jesus, they're dropping like flies.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a long week.
That's and that's all 1 week.
Wow.
That is nuts. Jay had a nice line. He was saying like watching white people fight over these dudes is hilarious, and he made the comparison. He said Democrats are like condoms. I'll use them, but I won't feel good about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
It's like
I enjoyed that. I think Jay always has like a very original take on
that was a good Che line.
On
I
what's
dug
going
it.
on.
I agree.
Absolutely. And then we had our first correspondent, I guess, or
Uh-huh.
person. Bottle Boy came out, which, from what I understand, this was also cut from last week as well.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah. So it was a Bone Yang kind of dressed up as a transient person talking about the plastic bag ban in New York City. Mm-hmm. And he kind of talked like an exaggerated Southern accent, like a foghorn leghorn.
Yes.
I think somebody online mentioned, he's kind of talking like Daniel Craig's character in Knives Out.
Yeah.
Like, hello there, Mr. Jost, or something like that. Sounded like Cajun man.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, it reminded me of like an Adam Sandler character. Like the bottle boy name is very like Sandler-esque,
Yeah.
and then the accent is so like Bobby Boucher or something.
Yes, very much so. And I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on this?
I didn't have too much of a reaction to Bottle Boy. It's nice when Bowen Yang has stuff to do on the show. This is not one of my favorite characters for him.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Like,
Yeah, the Trade Daddy's better, but I still like
Yeah.
Yang Yang. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yang Gang is classic.
Yep.
And Jost did a No Time to Die joke. He talked about how the No Time to Die movie has been delayed because of concerns about coronavirus.
Right.
And he said they're removing the no from the title.
Ooh.
Which I was just like, how do you make that bad of a joke when James Bond is in the fucking building?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I was like, really?
Ballsy.
Really, Colin?
Really?
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 You're making that joke with James Bond in the building.
Really? From Che, I would expect that, but not from you, Joe.
That is a very cherry line.
That was a total Che line. I'm surprised Joe said it. I was like, wow. And also on the Weekend Update, we had Cecily Strong back as the girl you wish you hadn't started a conversation with at a party. Like, I hadn't seen this in a while.
Yeah.
This was a surprise return.
If you needed any evidence that Cecily's doing like her greatest hits, I think that the return of this character.
That's
definitely
true.
Yeah,
signals that.
you actually looked it up. You brought the receipts. You said this was her first appearance as the character since March 7th, 2015. So 5 years ago.
Actually, I think I need to edit that. I think she did do a 2016. Now that I think about it.
Okay, this
Yeah.
podcast is based on
Oh,
a lie.
God. Fake news. Fake news.
All right.
Still,
Well,
like,
thanks for coming in, Andy.
3.5 years.
You made us look like fools, Andy.
Yeah, that's
Fools, I
it's
say.
right here on the Entertainment Weekly
know.
site.
I
And
know.
Oh, God. Now we're liars.
destroying
This is
their
what happens
integrity.
when I'm typing this stuff in real time. You know?
Right,
Like, I had no idea
right.
that character is going to come back, so I'm like frantically typing
You're
it up.
Googling and
Yeah, I'm like, oh god, oh god.
Oh, boy.
and you said this was only her 7th Weekend Update appearance as that character. Is that right?
It might be a little higher, but
Okay.
it's around then.
Okay.
Interesting.
I remember. It
'Cause-
felt like it came one more.
Yeah, it feels
I
like
don't
she did that more, and not in a bad way.
Might
but-
want to fact check me after this podcast.
Okay, so you're getting things
Oh,
as wrong
God.
as the girl we wish we hadn't started
Yes.
a conversation with at the party.
Yeah, it was very tongue in cheek.
Jeffrey Einstein over
But
here.
yeah, but it was fun to see this character come back. I think it's
Yeah.
one of Cecily's better
Oh,
bits.
Yeah, definitely one of the more memorable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
iconic.
And I don't feel like she ever overstayed her welcome as
No.
that character.
No,
so
no. People
yeah.
seem genuinely happy to see her back at this.
so
Yeah.
so that was fun.
And she kind of fits that drunk uncle Stefan mold a little bit. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much so.
I mean, I think it's very valuable for Weekend Update to have people come on who just get the things wrong. I mean, that's a big tradition that goes back to like
Yeah.
Gilda Radner doing
Yeah.
Emily Latella.
Yes.
Wow.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Holy moly. Very nice.
And and I guess we should mention, since we mentioned it earlier in the show, we did have the joke about William Shatner
yes.
with the horse semen in his divorce.
yeah.
Yeah. So as part of his divorce settlement, William Shatner got the rights to horse semen because apparently he and his wife they were big horse fans and they would breed horses, and
Of course, as you do.
having frozen horse semen is apparently a big part of that.
Yeah. This is all new to me.
So
And I think Che said, well, like, I don't know what he's doing with that horse semen, but his skin has never looked better.
that was a good joke.
That's a good joke, yeah.
But I think it is a valuable reminder to all of us just to decide who gets your horse semen now.
Yeah, like, I mean, you don't want your family to fight over it when you die.
Yeah.
Like,
Go
I
to
mean,
an estate
Andy,
lawyer.
have you and your wife figured out
We have
the
not gone to an estate
distribution of
lawyer yet.
your horse semen?
Yeah.
Darren, have you and your wife figured this out?
It's in my will.
Okay, good.
Don't worry.
Because I mean, you got to lock this shit down.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
You don't want to go into a marriage not with the horse semen that you went into it with.
I'm going to donate to charity probably.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
give it to less fortunate people who can't afford horse semen.
Right. That's a valuable thing to do. But-
Absolutely. So not a bad Weekend Update. Pretty,
Oh, yeah.
a little bit longer than last week, so I dug this one.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So next up, we get the accent coach or the dialect coach sketch.
right.
So this one, basically, it's Daniel Craig playing himself, walking into meeting with the studio execs about the movie Knives Out. They're talking about how they're excited for the sequels coming out, and they want to explore his character more. And Daniel Craig says, well, I've been working with my dialect coach. I'd like to bring him in on this if I could. And then in comes Beck Bennett, who's kind of dressed as like a denim Elvis kind of look. It's like
Good way to describe him. Sure.
Yeah, like a Neil Diamond in his heyday. He has like a big old like kind of mullet that's kind of coiffed up and just like a straight up denim jumpsuit.
Very Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Yes.
Mullet.
Yeah.
And so like then they talk about his southern dialect, his southern accent, and then it's just basically Beck kind of doing these exaggerated like southern like like who that now there y'all type of stuff.
And we find out over the course of the sketch that he has never actually been to the South. He's just bases this all on stuff like foghorn, leghorn.
Yeah.
And
so it's like, oh yeah, so you want like a Georgia accent? So it's like, oh, I'm from Georgia. I got a hot butt. It's a lot of that. Don't look at me like that.
A lot of butt jokes.
A lot of hot butt jokes. And then so then they do a line read, and then it's him doing his exaggerated Southern accent, like, oh, I'm from Louisiana. Who that now there, y'all? And then it's like, oh, there's a scene where I'm supposed to vomit, and it ends with Beck vomiting on cue.
Classic live vomiting.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then
gotta love that.
And all the execs are like horrified, like, "Oh my god, why'd you vomit?" It's like, "Well, it says I'm supposed to vomit here in the script." And it's like, "You can vomit like that on cue?" It's like, "Yeah, you can." And then Daniel Craig shows that he can vomit on cue. Then Daniel Craig's vomits. Then Beck vomits.
And Daniel Craig's vomit at the very end, it gets a little out of control, and it like spurts on the people on the table a little bit.
Like a Gallagher concert.
Which, it was something else. Which, oddly enough, like Daniel Craig pukes on Mikey Day. That was actually my last Pornhub search. So,
wow, that's what you're into.
That was, it was very specific. So this sketch really spoke to me.
Wow. As far as sketches go, I thought it was. It wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, it didn't blow me away. I mean, I'm like anybody. I love the fake vomiting in an SNL sketch.
Sure.
It's always funny when they have an element like that can go hideously out of control, and like you see the actors actually get startled because they are
a little chaos is good for SNL.
Yes.
They are getting puked on, and they were obviously not expecting to get puked on.
It was. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it, Andy?
I thought it was solid. It's always fun seeing, like I said earlier, like a host like Daniel Craig really be able to, get into his wild side a little bit and be goofy and silly. And I thought it was fun seeing Mikey Day try a Ryan Johnson impersonation.
Oh, was that what he was doing?
I'm pretty sure that he was supposed to be Ryan Johnson.
He did have a fake beard.
Wow, I did not even know. Ryan Johnson has a fake beard?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But I haven't gone on Twitter to see what the Last Jedi haters have accused him of lately. So that's probably in their list of grievances.
He ruined Star Wars, and he has a fake beard.
Yeah, release a Snyder cut. Because I assume all those obnoxious movie complainers hang out together.
I can see that. Release a Snyder cut.
Ghostbusters can't be women.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're all in a club together. I look forward to your letters.
That's right. Come at us, bros. All right, so next up, we got the game night sketch.
Deep quote game night is what it is called on the YouTubes.
Yes. So basically, it's like a bunch of friends getting together for a game night. It's Kate McKinnon and her husband Daniel Craig. They get to, they brought all their Kate McKinnon's co-workers for like a game night, and it's like getting towards the end of the night where it's like, yeah, we should all head on home.
Oh, but let's play one more game, guys.
Yes.
Let's play one more game.
Heidi wants to quote. I guess you say I want to do a quote of where they just do movie quotes, and she's really adamant about it. And but she starts saying all these like very obscure movie quotes that like stuff from like The Aviator and stuff, and no one gets it except for
stuff like picking out a suit. Like let me have like one of the dark suit and one of the light suit, like something you could never identify as being from a specific movie. But Daniel Craig immediately gets it.
And then suddenly Daniel Craig and Heidi are like kind of connecting and even like flirting a little bit.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Oh, are you some type of flick daddy?" And he's like, "I'm the baddest flick daddy you've ever seen." So he said something like that. Like,
How great was Heidi in this though? Like, she really
threw herself into it. Yeah.
I thought it was a good showcase.
Yeah, no, we're big Heidi fans. She like her commitment to these characters in the sketches always kind of astounds me.
Yeah,
it's like, wow, she's in there
both comedically and I think like dramatically. Like, she has like a good kind of like presence, and gravitas to it.
Right. Like if Heidi started doing like dramas, I actually wouldn't be surprised. I think she would be a really good drama.
Well, she did a play last summer Noises Off, I think.
I love that
Oh.
show.
Up on Cape Cod. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
cool.
No way.
Yeah, I mean that is still kind of a comedy show.
Oh,
but,
yeah, it's a farce. It's a big time farce.
But still, it kind of shows where her talents are, where her interests are.
Which part did she play in the show? Do you know?
I don't know. We had vague plans to go see it, and then we never did. We didn't make it to the Cape last summer.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I was very disappointed. And I blame my wife.
That's
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I blame your wife as well.
I'm not
without hearing her side of it at all.
Yeah.
I just blame her. She's being unusually quiet right now.
Yeah.
So
I am not
Yeah.
taking a side.
yeah.
So they had a few like quick lines that I kind of liked where I think at one point Kate says, "Hey, what, when she sees them being flirty, it's like, hey, what are you doing? You have a job." Then Daniel Craig quickly says, "Oh no, I don't. I got fired over 6 months ago." Like that was like a real
What?
yeah. And it kind of ends with them kind of going back and forth with these really obscure like quotes that and
Quotes you could never connect to a movie, like yes, okay, and,
Yeah.
and then they instantly identify. And they went to one movie like 3 times.
Oh,
and I forget which movie it was.
son
but,
of a beast thing. Yeah. Captain Phillips.
Captain Phillips.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That was it. That was
It's like
it.
Captain Phillips, and like
Yeah.
they say, stop quoting Captain Phillips,
Yeah.
because like everybody else doesn't get what they're doing.
Because
Right.
they didn't say like I'm the captain. They
No, it
avoided
was
the
like
one
I'm
quick phrase.
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It was literally like that generic.
Exactly, and then suddenly they start getting closer and closer until I think Daniel Craig or Heidi just starts kissing, and they just start making out in front of everybody. And then the other person's like, "Oh, that's from The Notebook." That kiss. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I could tell from the tongue. That's
Ryan Gosling's
Gosling's
tongue. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this sketch.
Good sketch for Heidi.
Yeah.
Anytime you get to make out with James Bond, that seems like a good day at work.
Ain't nothing wrong
You know?
with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can write a sketch where you get to make out with Daniel Craig, you do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So this sketch wasn't too bad. It was all right.
Yeah. I think sometimes this period of the show gets a little sluggish, and this had a little bit more energy and zestiness to it than
Zestiness. Wow.
Zestiness.
Wow. Sazon Goya. Yeah. So and the final sketch was the pre-tape. Overnight salad.
Yeah, this was an Edie Bryant song, just singing about this salad that she made and had sitting out overnight, and all sorts of weird ingredients are going into it.
Right. So it's basically she's making this overnight salad for her family. It has a lot of mayonnaise in it.
Hot dogs,
Pizza,
raisins.
I think I'm sure cookie crumbs or something like that were in it, like croutons.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Just like a lot of gross things.
And then it sits on the radiator overnight.
yeah. And then and she's singing the song very la la la. And then the family comes down and they eat it and they're like, "This is disgusting. What the hell have you done? What's wrong?"
Kills the dog.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it kills the
yeah.
dog. What's wrong with you? And
They actually cut the song off mid-verse because
Yes.
the salad is so repulsive.
right, the music just stops, and they're like, "This is disgusting." And Daniel Craig is the husband, and he's like, "You're sick, Nadine. Are you sick in the head? What's wrong with you? You fucking killed the dog." And then, of course, Daniel Craig takes the kids out of the house, and Nadine, or Edie Bryant's character, is like, "Well, I guess I have to eat this overnight salad all myself." And she begins to eat it, and then immediately smash cut to Nadine's tombstone,
yeah.
her grave.
Yeah, yeah.
And it says, "Here lies Nadine. She was sick in the brain." It's a dark ending for this sketch.
Very dark. Very dark. I feel like we've seen them do this kind of like riff on domestic goddess stuff where there's like this dark undercurrent before. I feel like Cecily's played it a little bit, so it was interesting to see Edie Bryant in that role and seeing Edie sing. Because
Yeah.
usually Cecily's the one that gets to belt out the show tune type
That's
song.
true.
I don't know. Like 80's done a few sketches where it's her singing. Like when Harry Styles was hosting,
Oh,
she
good
did the thing
point.
with Harry Styles as her dog. And,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I've seen
fair
a few
enough.
things where it's like, okay, you just wrote this so 80 could sing, didn't you?
Yeah.
The show, I feel like, has a lot more song numbers from their cast members than I remember in the past.
I feel like they've got a lot of musical theater geeks in the
Yeah,
cast.
The theater kids have taken over. I'm
And-
not sure how I feel about it. I'll
Yeah.
be honest.
I enjoy a little of that. I can relate a little to that because I've done like some theater,
Yeah,
not musical theater, but I know a lot of those
Yeah.
types. So I enjoy it.
John's no stranger to the theater,
Yes,
as it were.
yes.
Acting.
Genius.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's my John Lovitz, guys.
I love it. I love it. I do Mulaney and I do love it.
And that was kind of Mulaney as Lovitz.
Yeah.
I love it.
There's not much difference between my Mulaney and Lovett. This is my Mulaney. And this is my Lovett. Yeah, but as far as the final sketches go, this was okay. I don't know that
I wasn't thrilled with this. It didn't really
Yeah.
send me. It was
If they
okay.
cut it, I would have thought okay.
It was okay in its randomness, but I wouldn't have particularly missed it if it was gone.
yeah that ending with the tombstone kind of like oh it kind of like I don't know, left a weird.
I
taste in
liked
my mouth.
them stopping it mid song to talk about how horrible the salad was and them
Yes.
saying that it killed the dog. That amused me. But,
Yeah, of course. That's
yeah.
fun. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that's the episode, guys. Not a bad episode. Not too. I kind of like this a little bit better than the Mulaney episode a little bit.
I agree. I did
mean-
not like the Mulaney one at
Oh,
all.
really?
Yeah. I just thought it paled in comparison to his first two sketches or episodes. Yeah, shows. And I thought Daniel Craig was a surprising host, and I thought it was a good balance of the cameos, so the cameos didn't overwhelm and gave the cast members a good opportunity to shine. So I liked it.
That is true. The cameos, they kept them under control, even though they had a fair amount of cameos in this episode. I think I would still put last week's John Mulaney episode above this one, but I like Daniel Craig as a host. I think, he's definitely game. He goes for it.
Surprisingly versatile, too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a really good actor, and it's nice to see him get an opportunity to play comedy because he doesn't get to do that too much because macho action star.
Right. Shout out Logan Lucky, though. Did you guys ever see that?
I've never seen. I heard good things about it.
Yeah, it
I
was good.
still have not seen Logan Lucky. I need to. I loved Knives Out, and that's a little lighter than what Daniel Craig usually does. So I enjoyed that. I'm really looking forward to the new James Bond movie. I hate that it was delayed 7 months.
Yeah, Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to you. Sorry. yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is.
It's like between that and Warren leaving the race, it's been a tough week for me.
So I'm sorry, man.
And also coronavirus.
Oh yeah,
that's
that's
also we might all die.
Yeah. But I mean, no time to die though. That's really. You take anything.
Yeah, and then Colin Jost made that joke, and then that was really just. Ugh. So
All right. So yeah, we put the word out on Twitter that we were doing this episode, and we got a couple tweets. Longtime listener Ruby the Rube says, pointless nitpick. In the movie quote sketch, there was a Settlers of Catan board on the table that's literally never mentioned. The sketch has been cut from dress multiple times this season, so I don't know why they never wrote in a line about it or took the proper way entirely.
Shout out Ruby the Rube, by the way. What's going on, man?
Yeah, I had to go back and it's like, oh yeah, Settlers of Catan, because I know that board game is like a thing, but it didn't really capture me at all. But I guess I give a little shout out to Settlers of Catan. I got.
that it was there.
It was there.
Yeah.
And also Vax Novier says it was interesting how almost everything that wasn't about the coronavirus were actually old dress rehearsal cuts, which I think we noticed too. Like a lot of old sketches, which I kind of dug because I did notice on this episode there were a lot of original sketches. You all right?
I'm sorry, I just saw a comment from Ruby the Rube. It just says, "FYI, at Darren Credible, you don't have to read out this whole thread."
Because after Ruby,
I love you right now, man.
That's fine.
That was awesome.
Because after Ruby said that, some people commented on it, and then it goes into a whole thread, and then I said, "Thank you for letting me know I didn't have to read the whole thread because I definitely would have read the whole thread if you didn't tell me that."
That is something that Darren has done, so that really amuses me.
You get me, Ruby. You get me. And then we also had a tweet from Spook at La Douche C saying, I actually laughed out loud. That doesn't happen often. Watching SNL, sleeping on the couch should be the #1 single in the
It was very
world.
catchy.
Very catchy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Glad I got to see it live. Killed LOL. So it's not like Spook is just bragging he got to see the show live. How about that?
or he watched the show live.
Oh.
I mean...
Oh, yeah, maybe that's...
Yeah, I don't know if he was actually attending the show. Maybe he was just watching it on its live broadcast like the rest of us.
You know what? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now that I think
I figured the odds are that's probably how he was watching the show.
Yeah,
but,
my
but
brain...
maybe he was actually attending the show. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? That makes more sense. All right, but yeah, overall, not a bad episode. And so next week they got off, and we'll figure out what we're going to do for about next week's episode. But then after that, March 28th.
Yep. They announced a new host.
Guest host.
Jim Halpert.
Yes,
Jack Ryan.
John Krasinski, the guy from the Kia commercial with Rachel Dratch. They got him.
Smart Park. That hasn't gotten old since the Super Bowl at all.
Look at these two troublemakers. Oh, boy. Boston.
Yeah.
And musical guest Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
Who I'm kind of familiar with through like commercials and stuff, but I don't know too much.
I
about
am
her stuff.
familiar with Dua Lipa from their name being on the screen last night. So
There you go. I think it's one
So you're a
person.
longtime fan.
Longtime fan. I mean, it's been almost 12 hours now.
Yeah,
So,
man.
You were there from the beginning.
yeah.
from
I
the
go
jump.
way back.
I'm pretty sure Dua Lipa is one person, right? One woman.
I would assume. I have not even Googled this
Anybody
person.
else?
So,
Okay. Beth, okay. No one has any idea.
All right.
All right,
Nope.
so we'll all find out.
yeah.
Okay. All right, and yeah, that's the episode, guys. Andy, thank you so much for being here
Guys,
with us.
this was so fun.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
doing it.
Of course.
Anything to plug, anything to promote, anything.
I guess just if all your listeners out there want to follow me on the Twitter, you know, and keep reading the Entertainment Weekly recaps. Let me know what I get right. Definitely know what I get wrong too. I feed off negative energy. So just that's it.
And what's your handle on
Oh,
Twitter
sorry,
so that
it's-
people can follow you?
It is at SNL in Review, and I should be coming out with hopefully some cast member interviews in the next couple weeks or months.
Some current cast member interviews? Or
No.
past cast members?
The SNL PR people don't let me get that close.
Yeah.
Can you tease anything right now or no?
Someone from the ill-fated 85-86 season.
Interesting.
Yeah, that chapter of SNL lore. So keep Google searching for that, or check out my Twitter feed.
Okay. That'll be interesting. And you said you were getting together with a Mr.
Well, I met Al Franken
Al Franken,
yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah. That's why I'm in Jersey.
Uh-huh.
It was he was doing an event in South Orange, which
Right.
one of my cousins lives in South Orange, and I'd family in Maplewood growing up as well too. So it was
okay.
nice to be kind of back in the area.
Oh,
or
nice.
Union as well too.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, welcome back to the Garden State.
Yeah,
good
thank
sir.
you.
Very cool. Happy to have you, and happy we were able to get together and do this. This is always fun when we meet other people from the SNL
Yeah. Universe.
fan community.
Extended family,
Yeah. Yeah.
Cinematic universe.
So that is always fun.
The
That is always fun.
SNLU, or as we call it. And guys, if you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you can find me at Darren Credible, DARIN Credible.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Trumbull Comic, TRUMBULL Comic. And you can follow the show at SNL Nerds Show.
Right, and you can find us on Non-Productive Network. Follow us on Twitter at NonPro. Online, non-productive.com. Listen to all the other podcasts that's on the Non-Productive Network. Donate to the Patreon. Give us some money. Help us keep the lights on.
Write us a review
Yeah.
on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to the podcast. We enjoy getting that feedback, like Andy was saying before, and we will read it on the air if you do, good or bad.
Yeah, even the crappy stuff.
Even the crappy stuff.
That's right. We love pain.
Yes. Yes, we are very masochistic.
Yes. And and I guess that's it, man.
I think that is it. So if we don't have anything else to say, we'll just sign off and say,
Nerds out.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.